Hello and welcome to this tutorial for Groundhog Day, the game. It's based on the film with the same name. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you do it as soon as possible. Not to understand this game, but because it's a fantastic movie. This game is cooperative. All the players are working together to win the game. If you win, you all win. If you lose, you all lose. Here's how it goes. You are going to play up to 8 rounds. Maybe less, but you have no more than 8 rounds to reach your goal. I know you see 9 spaces here, but after 7 rounds you won't have enough cards, and after 8 rounds you won't have any cards left at all. So try to win the game in 8 rounds. How do you win the game? If you have played 7 red cards, these red cards that all show 4 hearts on the bottom, these are called perfect day cards. You need to have 7 of these in a row, and then also going from a low number up to a high number. It doesn't matter what numbers, as long as they go from low to high. If you manage to get that, you win the game. Everybody wins the game. Try to do this in 8 rounds. How do you play the game? First, you give cards to every player. You give as many cards as the space on the board says. If you start the game at the most left position, you put the groundhog there for round 1. Then this is round 2, round 3, and so on. Here it says 24, so you deal out 24 cards. You divide those 24 cards as equally as you can. If you're playing with 5 people, then one person gets 1 fewer card, but that's okay. That's how it's done. Start every round by dealing out cards. Look at the number on the board for how many cards you deal. Next, don't look at your cards. Start by discussing what you should do. And when you're done with that, you can look at your cards. And then, from that moment on, you cannot speak anymore. No talking. I'll repeat that. As soon as one player looks at their cards, no one is allowed to speak anymore. No talking until the round is over. So, look at your cards and be quiet. See what you have in your hand. If you want to, move the cards around a bit to make it easier for yourself. When you are ready to go, you put your finger on the alarm clock. Wait for the other players to do the same. When every single player has put a finger on the alarm clock, you can start the timer. The clock is ticking. Time to play the game. You have 1 minute. If you want, you can use the hourglass that comes in the game box, or you can download the free app that will show you a timer counting down, and if you have the volume on, it will play music. Remember, no talking. You can't speak until the timer is up. I'll do a recap here. 1. Deal cards. 2. Don't look at the cards and discuss what you're trying to do for this round with the other players. 3. Look at the cards, and now nobody is allowed to talk anymore. 4. When you are done looking at your cards and maybe rearranging them, you put your finger on the alarm clock. When all the players have put a finger on it, start the timer, and you have 1 minute to play the game without speaking. Now comes the most important part. What do you actually do? As you can see, here at the bottom the board shows you 7 spaces. You are going to have to put down 7 cards on the table as a group. They have to go from a low number to a high number. For example, 2, 5, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. It's not perfect, but at least it goes from low to high. And of course you have to do all of this as a group without speaking. You can't ask other players who has which cards. You have to work together in silence. I'm going to come back to this, but first I'll explain to do what you have to do after this. You have played 7 cards from low to high, and you did all of this before the timer ran out of time. If it runs out of time before you play the 7 cards, you all lose the game. So, you did it right. You have 7 cards out. Now you can finally speak again. You can talk to the other players. Step 1. Count up all the hearts on the card that you have just played. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 hearts in total. Step 2. Place the number behind the row. It was 12 hearts, so place the number 12 right next to the cards. Step 3. Check if there are any cards that say you put one of these cards at the top into the deck. The card will tell you to. In that case, you take the card and just put it on top of the deck here. Or shuffle it in, it's up to you. Step 4. Leave these cards. Don't take them back. But all the other cards, the one that you didn't use, go back into the deck. Shuffle the deck, and that's it. So again, count the hearts, place that number at the end of the row, then see if you can put one of these big cards into the deck, and leave these cards and shuffle all the other cards back into the deck. Ready for the next round, because obviously these are not 7 red cards, so we didn't win the game this round. We try again, just like in the film. Move the groundhog to the next space. Now deal out this many cards. So in this case, 22 cards. You do everything again. And this time you place the cards here, under these ones. Make a new row under the old row. But there's a very important rule. Pay attention. Remember that in the previous round we had 12 hearts in total. The number is still there, 12. For this next round, you must score more than 12 hearts. If you have less than 12 hearts, or even 12 hearts, that is another thing that makes you lose the game. Every new round that you play, you have to get more hearts than you had before. So be careful with which cards you play. Not too many hearts and not too few hearts. You have to work together, but without speaking, to help each other. I've got one last important detail for you, and then you know all there is to play this game. When one player plays a card, all the other players must openly discard all their cards of that same number and lower numbers. For example, if I play a 4, here is the number 4. I put this open on the table, and when we start putting cards here, then all the other players have to drop their cards that are a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4. The other players have to do that, not you. You drop your cards when another player puts down a card. You can't speak, so this is at least one way to communicate to other players what your secret cards could be. And yes, you have to do all of this in the 1 minute you have. As the seconds are ticking away, you have to work together in silence to get 7 cards on the table, going from low to high, and keep an eye on the hearts, and make sure you discard cards that are lower than the number that the other player just played. That's a lot of stress in 1 minute time. If you also have polka music playing on the app, how can this be anything but hilarious? So, make those rows. Every time, make sure to put the score out at the end of the row. Try to get 7 red cards on the table, from low to high, of course, and before time runs out. Then you win the game. In all other cases, you lose. This is it. I hope you feel ready and having a good sense of how to play this game, and that you'll be playing it soon. Thank you for watching this tutorial, and see you for the next one.